Hi, is anyone there? Is Bhumika, are you there?
Yes, Shweta, I'm here.
Okay, because I can't see. And I'm assuming Bansi is there as well.
Can you see attendees?
I can see webcam or yeah, attendees 3. Okay. So if I click, I can
Yes.
see who all are there.
Yeah.
Oh, that Mr. Vinayak is also joined. And so we are audible to the audience, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to play the slide? Because I cannot see the slide.
Yes, I'm doing that. It will take 1 minute.
Yeah.
Can you see the slide now?
Yeah, I can. Hi, Lara. Can't hear you, Lara.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yes. Bhumika, my webcam is not activated. Can you please activate that?
Request is sent to you, Shweta. Can you get? Yes.
Yes, it's done. Thank you. We should just all keep ourselves on mute, no? Because I think there's an echo then when the other one talks.
Yeah, especially if
Yes.
Okay. So Lara, though the timing is 11 to 12, we'll just wait for a few minutes, to allow people to join in, and then we'll start.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Second. Hi, Lara.
Hi, Karina.
Good to meet you finally.
Likewise, good to see you.
So we can all see each other. I'm just going to mute my webcam for 5 minutes.
Sure.
Just setting it up here. And I don't even know where the microphone.
Yeah, this is a new interface, so it gets some getting used to.
I'll be back at 11 in 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
So the new presentation I sent has been uploaded, right?
Yes, we've taken that into it.
Great.
Just one thing, I think there is an issue with the PPT PDF format. Bhumika, finally, we're using which format?
I think you can stick to PPT because now the first slide I have made it into an image, so that should open when I send
Yeah,
it.
we are, yes, we are with PPT. I will show you. Slow.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yes.
Do you want to go in? Okay, all ready.
Hi, Palina. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it?
So, Parina, as I was telling Lara, we'll have to wait for a couple of minutes for people to join in because not everyone joins it at 11 sharp. So we already have a few
Can everybody hear
joinees,
me?
but we'll have to wait a bit. Yes, yes.
I can't hear you guys. What happened?
I thought so, Palina. I said when I said good morning. Yeah. Are you able to hear us now?
Shweta, I can't hear you. Let me.
Am I audible now?
Thank you, Lara, for accepting our invite to be on
Oh,
this
not at
panel.
all. Not at all. My pleasure.
Really nice to have you here.
So is this an active organization? Do you meet often?
Yes, so let
Yeah,
me
we
maybe
do.
just give you a quick brief. So the Indo-French Chamber actually has been in existence since 45 years. We celebrate our 45th anniversary this year. We are present across Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, Pune as well, and now we're also very soon going to be present in Hyderabad. We are basically have a network of around 650 member companies, along with including all the French groups, the Indian companies, and 5,000 plus contacts. And basically, the main objective of the chamber is to boost the bilateral trade. And we've been actively engaging and organizing, I would say, 100 plus events every year across different formats to keep the whole community engaged. We also have committees. We have 16 sectoral and functional committees, and retail is one of them. Retail is actually quite an active committee, I would say, since we have, I would say, interesting members across India and France. And the idea is to kind of bring together the stakeholders every quarter and to organize, I would say, meaningful, insightful engagements to keep the industry, the stakeholders apprised of the developments, the new trends, I would say, as well as also see if there are possible business synergies within the sector. So it's something maybe I can probably get on a call of after the session and brief you as to what are the other activities as well, and to see yeah to see
Very
interest to
active.
you.
That's nice.
Yes.
Hello, Palina. You're able to hear us?
Yes,
Satya and
I am able to now. Thank you. Sorry, I had a little bit of a snack, but
Yeah,
all
I
good now.
represent the retail committee as the vice chairman for retail committee at the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce, and also head the
Nice to meet you, Satyan.
French brand Celio in the country. So that's
Yes. Hi, Alok. We spoke briefly yesterday.
Actually,
Alok,
Alok
you're
is
not
Alok.
audible.
We can't hear you. The new age challenges.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time the retail committee we should organize it, Sachin, in a physical format so that we can get the chance to meet and engage. Yeah.
Yeah, we should plan that. Two
Yeah, now
and a half years. This.
we also, this event that, the report that I'm going to talk about, we did it in person after 2 years. So it was good to do it in, face to face rather than a screen. For the last 2 years, we did it online. So it
I
was
agree. I
nice.
think people are now ready to meet and ready to engage and ready to, step out. It's been
Can
really
you hear
long.
me now, Krita? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Yeah, we
we
can
can
hear.
hear you now.
that's good.
So,
Yeah, we'll just wait for a couple more minutes before we start off.
Shweta, you can tell me when you want me to start with the welcome.
Sure, I will.
But in you all are based out of Delhi, New Delhi.
yes, I'm based in Delhi. Are you all in Bombay?
Yeah, Bombay.
Ah, Lara, you're also in Bombay?
So in Bombay.
Okay. So am I the only one from Delhi here?
Alok is
No,
also in from.
I'm from Delhi. Very nice.
Alok is from Delhi. Okay, that's good to know. So,
Just another minute and then we can start.
yeah.
Okay, I think in the interest of time, we should now start the session. So a very good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining in for the Retail Committee session on media consumption trends. A warm welcome to the esteemed guests who will be sharing with us some interesting insights, as well as our members who have joined us today for some key learnings and takeaways. Now, without any further delay, I would now like to pass the floor to Mr. Satyen Momaya, Vice Chairman of the Retail Committee and CEO of CVO Future Fashion, to share the welcome remarks. Over to you, Satyen.
Thanks, Shweta. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Retail Committee at the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce, I think this opportunity to really welcome our esteemed guests, Ms. Lara Balsara Wajifdar, Executive Director at Madison, Parina Thapar, co-founder at Longform. Both these ladies and the organization they represent have played a pivotal role in actually setting up the brand stories in the country, pivotal role in actually building strong brands in the country. So I think it's an honor to have you all on the panel, and it will be really interesting to hear from both of you how you all are seeing the changes happening in the advertising world, especially post the pandemic. Look forward for Lara's presentation on the media changes happening on the media consumption trends, and the interaction with Parina on the social media digital age and how it's evolving post the pandemic. Thank you, Alok, for helping us moderate that session with Parina. So without taking any time from Lara's interesting presentation, I would actually hand it over to Lara and ask her to start the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Satyen.
So can I have my presentation on, please?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me to come here and speak to you today about how our media world has changed over the last 2 years. We at Madison have been doing this pitch Madison advertising report almost now for 15 years, where we analyze the media market in India. We see which medium is growing, what is the role of each medium. I must warn you, this is a little data heavy presentation, but I will try to simplify it and give you a key takeaway from each slide. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, so basically in the COVID year in 2020, our industry went down by as much as 20%. But we are very happy that in 2021, we achieved a growth rate of 37%, and this growth rate of 37% was far higher than what we had estimated. Our growth rate was 26%, but the market did a lot better at 37%. And if we look over 2 years compared to 2019, the advertising market has grown by 10%. So now the advertising industry is at about 74,000 crores in India. Next. Yeah, so this is the growth of what this 37% comprises of. So digital has grown by as much as 50%. But this is, I mean, it's common knowledge and it's anticipated that digital will do well. But traditional media has also done extremely well and has grown by 37%. Of course, this is on the back of fairly poor performance in 2020. So overall, we are at 37%. Next. So if we look at how we fared even over the 2 years, so if we compare this data over 2019, so digital has grown by as much as 64% over 2019. but traditional media hasn't been able to match up to its pre-COVID numbers and is still at a 6% lower than pre-COVID. Next. Yeah, so this slide takes us through how quarter-wise the performance has been in the year. So each quarter has behaved very differently, and H2, the second half of the year, has contributed as much as 60% to the ADEX. Of course, Q2 registered the highest growth in percentage terms. Also, Q4 was the largest quarter. Can you go back on the previous slide, please? Yeah, so Q4 was at a dramatic 49% increase even over 2019, and that's because Q4 had a lot of events, lot of IPL and the festive season. Yeah, next. So this is how, can you click once again, please? This is a historical view of the advertising market over the last 10 years. And this 37% is the highest growth that we have achieved in the last 10 years. The second highest growth was 28%, which we achieved way back in 2010. Next. Yeah, one more next. Yeah, so this is India in context to the global advertising market. So the global ad market has also done very well in 2021, and it has grown by as much as 21%. And the total advertising market globally is at 585 billion. It's 21% increase over 2019, but it's also a 18% increase, sorry, 21% over 2020. But also an 18% increase over 2019, and these are very good growth rates, because if we look at over the years, the compounded annual growth rate globally has been only 5%. So, you know, this shows that advertisers around the world believe in the power of advertising and have started advertising with a vengeance, which is a good thing. Next slide. So India is the fastest growing advertising market in the world, and followed by Australia and UK, which are at 35%. Even US, which contributes to 46% of the total advertising market, has grown by as much as 22%. However, if you see this pie chart, India's share in the total advertising market is very, very small, and India contributes to just about 1% of the global ad market. Yeah. Next. So coming back to India, if we look at individual growth mediums, digital, as I said, has grown by 64% over 2019. TV has also grown by 11% over 2019, and TV is the only other traditional medium that has grown over the pre-COVID level. Print, which is the second largest traditional medium, has also performed well, registering a 39% growth, but it hasn't been able to cross its 2019 numbers and is still short at 17%. And similarly, outdoor and radio have also grown significantly by 69% and 36%, but they are nowhere near the pre-COVID numbers. Can we go to the next slide? So TV, of course, is the largest medium in ADEX and contributes to as much as 38% share. But as you see, the share has gone down from 42% to 38%. And digital continues to rise in terms of value terms as well as share. And its share has gone up from 31% to 34% in 2021. Also, if you see the combined share of outdoor, radio and cinema, which was at 10% in 2019, has come down drastically to only 5% in 2021. Can we have the next slide? Yeah, so this is a very interesting chart. This shows the share of traditional media versus digital media. So you see the sharp drop in traditional media. So from 92% share in 2012, traditional media is down to 66% share. And you see the growth of digital from being mere 8% in 2012, digital is now at 34%. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this slide is basically to show how the contribution of each media in India versus globally. So TV and digital now are the two big boys of ADEX in India as well as globally. Although the TV plus digital in India is at 72%, whereas globally it is at 87%. Yeah, now this slide talks about more the category contribution of how various categories of advertisers and how they spend. This analysis is only for traditional media and only TV, print and radio because we have more accurate data for this sector. So the big story here is that e-commerce and new age companies have doubled their spend from 3,000 crores to 6,000 crores. And they now contribute to as much as 13% of the advertising spends. Even cryptocurrency players and many fintech brands and BFSI grew by as much as 47%, and they are now at 2,000 crores spend. FMCG is, of course, the largest contributor to ADEX, but they faced a lot of challenges in the year because of increase in raw material prices. So their share has gone down from 38% to 34%. And of course, FMCG, as I said, is the largest contributor to ADEX. Yes, next slide, please. Now I'll just take you through a little bit of information on a few important media like television. Next slide. Yeah, so as you can see here, TV has grown from about 22,000 crores to 28,000 crores in 2021, and which is a 25% increase. And it's a 11% increase over pre-COVID levels. Next slide. Here, this chart shows how the TV advertising industry has grown from 11,000 crores in 2012 to 28,000 crores today in 2021. Also, although TV has dropped its share by 4 percentage points, so in 2020 it contributed to 42% of ADEX, but that number has come down to 38% in 2021. Next slide. So this is also an interesting slide. This shows that TV has witnessed a 25% increase in ad volumes in 2021 and also a 11% increase over 2019. And the ad volumes are positive across all 4 quarters compared to 2019 as well as 2020. And many broadcasters had to juggle their inventory to accommodate as many advertisers as possible. Next slide. So this is an analysis of ad volumes, and compared to a year ago, with the exception of English movie channels, everyone registered growth. What's also interesting is that despite the fact that there were no BARC ratings, the news genre also registered a growth of 19% over 2019 and 29% over 2020. And sports, of course, has emerged as the second lead genre with so many sporting events of IPL and T20 and many other cricketing tournaments. However, the genre did see a degrowth in FCT of almost 17% as compared to pre-COVID levels. But at the overall level, it is like after Hindi GEC, it is the next big genre. Next slide. Yeah, now I'll take you through a little bit of digital media. Yes, next. So digital has grown by an amazing 50%, And if it's grown from 16,000, almost 17,000 crores in 2020 to 25,000 crores in 2021, and it's also a 64% increase over the pre-COVID level. Next. So this slide again is the amazing growth of digital in India from a mere 2,000 crores in 2012 to 25,000 crores today. So it's moved from a share of just 6% over a decade to 34% today. The last time digital grew by 50% was in 2012, but that time it added a mere 750 crores. Today, with a 50% growth, it's added 8,500 crores. Next. So despite digital growing at an annual growth rate of compounded growth rate of 27% in the last 10 years, its total contribution to ADEX amongst all other countries in the world is quite low. So in India, digital contributes to 34% of ADEX, whereas the global average is 65%. Here in this chart, you see how digital contributes to various ADEX in different countries. So in China, it has a high at 77%, and you see India is like quite low amongst the top countries at 34%. Next. Yeah, so if we look at the quarter-wise figures, because of the festive season and IPL, Q4 was the largest quarter when the digital ADEX almost touched 10,000 crores and contributed to 39% of the full year. Q2, of course, contributed the least at 14% because of the COVID second wave. Next. So now 96% of all spends in India are on the mobile. Next. Also, programmatic has firmly taken root in India, and its share has been going up every year, and now it is at 42%. Yeah. So this in terms of verticals, video has the highest share of 29%, followed by social and display at 20% each. And e-commerce and search now contribute 16% each. So in terms of growth rates, e-commerce has contributed, grown significantly by as much as 50%. And display, video and search have also grown substantially by about 30% plus. Okay, next. Yeah, I'll also take you through a little bit of outdoor because I thought outdoor is relevant for the retail sector. Yes, next. So actually, outdoor has witnessed the highest growth rate in 2021 of 69%, and it's now at 2,000 crores. But this is still way lower than its pre-COVID numbers, and it is still lower by almost 40%. Next. Yeah, so this is how you see the outdoor market. 2020 we faced a major dip in outdoor. So we've also, outdoor has now picked up and has done very well, but it's still way lower than the 2019 number. Okay, here if we look at the outdoor ADEX quarter-wise, 70% of the spends came in the second half of 2021. And whilst Q2 was severely suppressed with a 70% drop compared to 2019, Q4 was a big bumper quarter with spends more than doubled over 2020 and even surpassed 2019 numbers. So 41% of the total spends in outdoor happened in Q4. Here, if we look at categories that contribute to outdoor, the top 5 sectors contribute over 70% to the outdoor ADEX. And the key ones are real estate is at number 1 with a 22% share, followed by retail, FMCG, BFSI, and consumer services. Of course, compared to 2019, all the categories have shown a degrowth. And all categories have shown a growth over 2020 except telecom, which showed a growth of -8%. Next. I also thought this would be an interesting slide. So if we look at the average daily time spent on each media, there are predictable changes compared to pre-COVID. So the time spent on print has gone down by 12% to about 23 minutes per day. Time spent on TV has marginally gone up, and it's the average time spent on TV is almost 4 hours a day. This is on a TG of all Indians 15 plus. Time spent on digital has gone up by 23% and is now at almost 3.5 hours a day. Next. So we've also done some predictions of what we think will be the expected growth rates in this coming year, 2022. Next. Yeah, so we expect the growth rates to go up by 20% and ADEX to settle at almost 90,000 crores. So again, with this growth rate of 20%, India will continue to be the fastest growing ad market. What WARC projects is Russia, I don't know now if it's going to happen. Russia was projected at 14%, USA at 13% growth, and China at 11%. Next. Again, if we look at the growth rates medium wise, so traditional is going to, we expect traditional to go up by 15%, but digital is going to go double of traditional at 30%, and that will give us a overall growth of 20%. Next. Yeah, so there are several reasons why we believe in this 20% is achievable. There are going to be lots of sporting events, IPL, ICC, T20 World Cup, Asia Cup. There are a whole lot of new categories and new advertisers who have emerged in India. There's also going to be, we feel, a lot of organic growth coming in from the FMCG sector because they had a dull 2021. Several again new advertisers from OTT, fintech, edutech, mobile gaming, digital wallets will continue spending. Political parties will also spend because of the upcoming state elections. And I think more and more advertisers are going to continue and increasing their spends on digital. Okay, next. Of course, the dampener is what we all have to be extremely careful about is inflation. As it has hit the world, it has hit India too. So that is something to worry about. Next. Yeah, so the big thing for this coming year is digital for the very first time is going to overtake TV, and we believe that digital will rest at 33,000 crores and have a 37% share in the total ADEX, whereas TV will be at 36% share. Next. We also expect the combined share of traditional media to come down further to 63% from the 66% in 2021, and TV will drop by about 2 percentage points, print by 1 percentage point, and cinema is very, very marginal growth, but it's less than 0.5%. Next. So we always end our report by saying what should advertisers do. Next. So I think the time is right to launch digital first brands to prepare for future growth. There's a completely evolved digital ecosystem infrastructure for distribution as well as advertising, and we believe that advertisers should take advantage of this. Next. Can we have the next slide? Yeah. No, just go to previous. One more. Yeah. So we also believe now is the right time to set up your own D2C distribution channels, and we believe it could pay rich dividends in the future. D2C is expected to take off in a very big way. Next. And we also believe that if you want to reach out to the elite and affluent audiences, it's better to use HD more aggressively. And we believe that the BARC numbers that get reported for HD are quite underreported. So HD is a good medium if you have to reach out to elite and affluent audiences. Yeah, so that's about it from what I had to share. I hope it wasn't too heavy and you were able to get some key takeaways. Thank you so much.
It was lovely insights, Lara. Thank you so much. Numbers speak their own story so clearly.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lara. I think it was really insightful. I think now what you said is what I think we will hear from Farina as well, as to how to now take forward the whole digital advertising and social media. So over to you, Alok and Farina, to take on the next session.
Look, we can't hear you. Can everybody hear Alok?
No, I can't hear him at least.
Satyan, I don't think we can hear you either.
Yeah. I'm unmuted now, so I'm sure I'll be audible.
Hi, Alok.
Hi. So Lara, really interesting, and I think it really gave a path for my next questionnaire to our expert, Farina. Numbers, as Farina said, speak a lot. And also what I came to know is even if you're going at 37%, doesn't mean a lot of money, because growth percentage, if your already spent is high, so India has a long way to go. And e-commerce 3,000 to 6,000 crores. I thought the numbers would be larger, but what I could see, and especially for my consumption, digital is in terms of spending is market is going up from 16,000 crores to 25,000 crores, and time spent for digital is going up 23%. That means a lot, and that takes me to my conversation with Farina. Just to give a brief introduction to the forum and the people who are there. Farina is an expert. She's the co-founder of Longform. What she does, what she does is she's a brand custodian. She makes the narratives. She helps the brand to grow. Specifically, her expertise is on the digital frame, and she has more than 20 years of experience, and she has been a brand custodian for almost entire gamut of industries, from luxury brands to restaurants and government entities. She has dealt them all, and reading about her and knowing about her, she really believes and gives a lead with vision to entrepreneurs, which she calls a process of brand humanization once the brand is formed, which is very important for any brand to grow. In past, Farina has been a journalist, but I think for more than 20 years, she has been what she is doing now. And from here, I start. Farina, I hope I have not missed anything. And
no, please, it is more than you need to say, actually. It's embarrassing. Please go ahead.
So Farina, again, hearing all the platforms which Lara mentioned, did you really see that, from your perspective and using social media channels, is any particular, any social media is preferable, and that's how you take it, or you think that the story or the narrative you prepare would not change the social media you are using?
No, I think digital has to be a way of life now. I don't think it's a choice anymore. It is the way you live your life. I mean, so I think the moment we talk about making choices, we are automatically missing the picture totally. So it's no longer about you make a choice. It is the way you're going to live your life. It is the way things will be. I think the only thing which becomes important when we look at things is to say, please don't confuse the medium for the message. So eventually, a smart brand has to not see that the message is growing. Eventually, what is their end goal? To be able to reach the consumer according to what their consumption patterns are. That is a very simple goal in life. And for that, if the consumption pattern is where you need to be, then you need to look at that. Yes, many a times the only thing which can happen is that there is a certain kind of a consumer. And if I may say that if it is at the total deep ends, like at a very low level of consumption, and at a very high level of consumption, the super HNIs, and if I would say at a very, very base level, probably so one segment hasn't come into the journey of discovering brands so much through the digital medium. And the other segment has outgrown the digital medium. So they will still discover it at a certain stage, but they will probably move on to understand offline experiences much more. But that is always going to be the two ends of a slide. The spectrum in the middle, the way we all live our lives, digital is not a choice anymore. And how you play with the medium has to come with the smartness of understanding how performance marketing works, how data can actually lead you very correctly to your consumer, and then not miss it with the fact that you still need to have a brand purpose and you still need to tell the story in a right way, because the consumer is going to lose interest more and more. They can skip ads, they can pause, they can move away totally. So that's where the smartness of messaging can lie. That is there a compelling reason that they want to really listen to you within a space that you own?
I think again that takes me to the next question, Prerna, is we listen a lot to influencer marketing, and now it's more said to millennials or Gen Z, but again Gen X like me also get influenced. So in terms of authenticity is the USP for influencer marketing. How do you create real, genuine, authentic content that resonates with the consumers? So what's the challenge you feel, or some guidance on that aspect?
Well, I think influencer marketing is a very early arena in India right now. So what is influencer marketing versus circle of influence? So those are a little two different things. A circle of influence may be people who know the brand, and hence they are friends of the brand, and they can have an immediate orbit, and that orbit can become larger. And the influencer is somebody who you bring in who may be a stranger, and you don't know which customer are they bringing to the table. So your customer could be coming from anywhere. It is getting extremely micro specialized in India, even while India is at an early stage, and I find that very fascinating. And I think when Lara spoke about the fact that how quickly digital is growing, I think our advertisers are growing to be extremely smart in the way they're using influencer marketing. Lara spoke about sports marketing coming up. And the kind of influencers, if you are selling a car brand or you're selling a phone, if you're going to lead on with a larger thing like a sports marketing, the kind of influencers you're using are becoming extremely different from the micro to the macro games. I think that is where a lot of fascinating things lie. And I think we also misinterpret the amount of power that an influencer can have still. I was just recently on a press trip and I met a journalist from the travel segment, and he said, I was in the middle of Arunachal Pradesh recently, where we would think that network is a problem, access is a problem, maybe the amount of digital spread which leads to awareness is a problem. And they had a Sony Max photographer with a large following on the trip. And soon the hotel called up the photographer to say, I have people lined up and queued up here to meet you, because he would do photographs on birding. And I find that kind of a real insight very fascinating, because you're talking about somewhere which is a remote region, you're talking about mobile marketing, and you're talking about people who are so zoned into what they want to follow that they have reached somewhere to meet that influencer with a line out there. And that's when this mainstream travel journalist opens and says, who are you? And these are the kind of stories which we discover every day I traveled with a food writer, and we were in the middle of a coffee plantation driving back to Vizag, and she had already inboxed the lady, told her that, you know, I run a cloud kitchen for a vegan service in Vishakhapatnam. And by the time we reached the airport, 4 beautifully packed cloud kitchen bags were there for 4 people, and we were like looking and say, what did you guys eat? We were looking for a place to eat and get to the airport, and here these 4 people saunter in and they say, oh, we had the most beautiful vegan a meal personalized by someone. And I think that is fascinating. What happens on ground on every sphere of life is fascinating, and that's really where the opportunity is for entrepreneurs to understand the same.
Thanks. So Prerna, going back to Lara, where she said that, about different media of, advertising and different platforms being used. So what I have really faced, and all of us, that now if you go to specifically on digital media, they try to, or digital media or social media platforms, they are making users who stay on the platform for the entire time. They are there, always there, and there is a social real commerce which is happening there. You go to Facebook, you go to any platform, to be precise, Twitter or something. Do you think that really poses threat to the traditional approaches? How do you think it'll look in future?
There's always been a relationship between content and commerce. What has changed is with the interactivity of the medium. So earlier, probably good content in a traditional print media led to commerce. So if you had the reach, people wanted to read that print newspaper, you were able to amplify it. Advertising came in because they could reach out there. So that is traditionally what probably the boundaries were, that I'm in the space of content, you're in the space of commerce, and we can align in a two-way interface. It wasn't a four-way or a interactive way of working. What the medium has taken care of is that today commerce can lead to content. So if you are a large marketplace, you are creating content solutions which are e-magazines, and those e-magazines are becoming hybrid versions of what a catalog will be. You are investing into people who create content which can be as authentic as possible, the way you actually went to a magazine to look at earlier, right? And on the other hand, there are people who are actually coming from the content space. Globally, that's a very big movement. Even if you look at a brand like Huda Beauty, she was a blogger. And then you actually get into commerce. So both kind of interactivity is taking place. You could be coming from the content space and then find the opportunity to get into the commerce space by really monetizing what your value can be. And then there are the people who have the large commerce, but they realize that they have to build stickiness. They need to go back to great content. So they start investing in their own content verticals and investing in their own forms of storytelling. So that is what really the interactivity of the medium has allowed. Traditionally, there was always this earned media, this paid media, and there is owned media. So earned media is really when you earn a story. Somebody has written about you because there is some topicality that the journalist feels is worth it for the consumer to know about you. Paid media is naturally advertising, but owned media is a space which was earlier in the form of, I may be a back-end investor into, which of course is still there. I may be a back-end investor with a stake, wherein the print media or wherein I can have some kind of a hold into the kind of narrative that you want to do. But it's very discreet. It's a little bit behind the guard. It's a little bit not known to the consumer. However, the own media, which has become transparent because of interactivity as a channel, is every Instagram page, every Twitter page is your own publishing handle. So when you talk about readership numbers versus engagement versus subscription, who's subscribing to you, how many people are reading you, that is your own media space. And that kind of interactivity is really what has made it into a very exciting game today. Does the consumer really understand the content that they're landing at? Is it coming from the earned media space? Is it coming from the owned media space? And is it coming from the paid media space? I think those boundaries have got diffused. And that is where people talk about, is the influencer authentic? When are they telling you something which is on their own user base, disclaimer, the brand hasn't paid me, versus, I mean, you consume the medium in a different way from your mobile. How many consumers can really look at a hashtag and understand paid advertising versus a disclaimer on sponsored content? So we are still the generation which is changing from one medium to the other, is adapting to it and questioning it. And I think a lot of people who are creating brands earlier, which are super brands or legacy brands, they are still themselves adapting to the new medium. So they're somewhere in the hybrid. But the younger entrepreneurs or the future entrepreneurs which will come in from 5 years from today, the ones who are, I don't know, 18 years old today or 15, 10 years from today, they'll be 25-year-old tomorrow. They're not going to be adapting to the medium. They're going to lead the medium. They're going to tell you, I don't understand what you mean. This is the way a story is told, and these kind of boundaries mean nothing to them. So as I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It still is. We are just consuming more picture. We're just consuming it in a different way, right? You still have, the camera may not be there, but you're still consuming content bigger. And the next 5 years will probably just change everything in a way which we haven't really looked at right now. So it's very exciting.
Interesting, Prina. That brings me to the next question. Again, that's more again a platform. And when I talk about platform, I say metaverse. I've heard about it, but I still have not been able to understand that. Is it opening a new reality for consumers, and will it become a mainstream choice? So what is your take on metaverse advertising for the new consumers?
I would love to hear some Lara insights as well, because I think that she's given us so many insights, and where metaverse is headed will be lovely to have it as a two-way interaction. So before I bring her in, I don't know how many of us are interacting with younger children. I think they've been used to the metaverse universe in a bigger way for a long time. We've just simply brought it to the adult world now. I play a game with my niece who's sitting in Melbourne, and I log in as a character and she logs in. And I believe it's a very popular game. I'm sorry if I can't remember, but every kid is playing that. And she picks up her shopping basket and I pick up my shopping baskets, and we all go and we decide whether we're going to party together, or suddenly is my pet lost, and I'm really getting hassled to say, where is my pet gone? And she's saying, Masi, you didn't feed your pet. And okay, I'm going off to a party and this is my zone and do you want to come? That's how we live our lives in the real world. Children have been living that life in the digital world for a long time. And so I was able to understand that, yes, how I can live that life as an adult by becoming a child again, and then starting to own assets out there. So if I can oversimplify it to that way. So for some people, as somebody whose advice I count in a lot, Sabyasachi, he told me for some consumers, metaverse will continue to be the portal to the real world. As you will go up in your life, according to what your demographics are, what your system is, it may just be a landing portal where we are all able to consume some kind of things in the digital world. We are able to own it, we're able to invest in it, and then you come to the real world. And for certain other consumers, it just may be a game of the digital world totally. So both journeys will continue together, but there is no way to deny that metaverse will become a very interesting and an important asset, whether it be for brand loyalty or for the fact that revenue will come from there. And it's still at early stages. It will evolve into a way of seamless AR, which is still getting to its final point of seamlessness of experience. Lara, would love to hear from you on that, if I can bring her in.
So yeah, I agree with what you said, Perinia. It's still early days. We have started exploring it for some of our clients and some of our brands, and some case studies have also I've been seeing on social media. Some brands have already explored this space. It's here to stay. I don't think it's going to become like a lead medium very soon. I think it also depends on what stage the brand is in. If it's a new brand, who the brand is targeted towards, if it is the youth, then it would make sense. If it's a more right now, what's the few case studies that I've seen, these are for more established brands in the market who've been doing a lot of advertising, and they want to target the younger audience. They are exploring.
Absolutely right. The aspiration still needs to be there for you to invest in something which is an even more intangible experience than actually owning the physical asset.
So I think it depends on who your target audience is for the brand, and then it makes sense.
Yeah, it's for our digital friends. We'll go there for a party and hang our walls with the lovely artworks and have a car, and it's great fun.
It's really interesting, and just my take on that. I had done these same kind of conferences around 7 years back, and I was talking to Google Invest in New York, and we were talking about AI, and we as lawyers had a case reluctance to say that AI is not going to work because lawyers are the one who contribute. But 7 or 8 years hence, it's a thing. We can see AI in every field and bots being there. I think the metaverse is at the same phase for advertising and for influencing what AI was 7 or 8 years back. So
Alok, I think both the mediums will get very sophisticated. I don't think it'll be an either or, is what I'd like to say. What will happen after the pandemic, I mean, we all want human engagement. So if the virtual reality will become more sophisticated in seamlessness of that experience, yes, I can sit in and watch a soccer match with thousands of other people and hear the roar, right? So you're giving me access to something which I may not be able to do in a two-way medium right now. But will that make sure that the stadiums are not full? Or no, because even during the pandemic, we saw that, I think it was an Adele music concert, if I'm not getting it wrong, it was booked out months in advance. So as markets would open, eventually the real life is the best virtual experience you can get in terms of augmented reality. So there are those consumers who want to go for that augmented reality of the life you live on ground, where you can feel the earth, you can hear the roar, and you can take out the time to do it. I think that will continue to becoming bigger success. Stadiums are going to be full more and more. And then as the consumers are stepping in more and more, and those who can't have it, how many of them want to interface through television and how many of them will get it through metaverse, is where the medium itself is getting so sophisticated to improve your engagement in the virtual world.
So with that, I come to the last question, Reena, and this is again: do you think we are judging everything keeping pandemic in mind, and I hope the pandemic is over. Do you think the same trends go forward, and or the whole social media platform is not going to be as 37% growth, which I've seen, or the things still will go again on a traditional way? So I think that's my last question.
It's tough to know that. I feel that change is, we are not at the stage of changing now. We are living the change. We are actually physically living the change. It's almost like, when you travel, what is your jet lag journey? The world is coming out of a jet lag. There are certain people who will remain in that moment of jet lag because their lives have been impacted in a very, very big way. And the choices that you make after a jet lag could be very different for different people. So everybody's emerging into the change. You're no longer in the journey of change. So you will wake up to see the changes there. And that will manifest many different, like metaverse has really come into its full blowing, where we've had the time to concentrate on it. But there are people out there who are working on making technology so smooth that I think the speed at which it will come into our lives is going to be much faster than we have sort of imagined it to be. And that is definitely here to stay. But I also feel with that, the physical experiences are going to become more and more sophisticated, because if I can click something at the click of a button, maybe do I really need 50 or 100 stores to be able to get to a consumer from a business model point of view, or will I really invest into experience centers for a different purpose? So access and reach will become very different because technology is going to enable that for you. So I think both things are going to, for the next 2-3 years at least, physical and digital will both see transformative experiences, and then we'll know where we are headed, according to me. That's what I feel.
So I think with that, Shweta, I finish my conversation with Parina. Thank you, Parina. It was really insightful. Some concepts, which again, as Gen X, I always used to think that we have the most reluctance, but we also want to justify ourselves saying that, okay, we are Gen X, but we have the money, so we also would matter. But I think Gen Z also matters a lot, because that's what the new future is. Shweta, do you think we have time for Q&A, and that's how?
Shweta looks tight, no?
Yes, I'm sorry. Actually, in the interest of time, we won't be able to do a Q&A session. But in case of any questions that come across, we will definitely send it across to the speakers, and we will then share them with the participants. And I just want to thank Parina and Alok for this interesting session. I would now like to ask Sachin to just conclude and share his thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Lara. I think the pitch report is something which we, as a marketeer, as a retailer, always been looking forward. I remember Sam, I've attended some of those events, and it's always been very insightful, very helpful in taking decisions before we get into our marketing budget planning. So thank you so much for taking us through that. Parina, very interesting conversation. Social, digital, metaverse. I completely agree. I think the young generation is already there. The TG which many brands will like to speak to, they're already there. I think probably the marketeers or the brands are not yet there to speak to those consumers, and probably brands will have to speeden up the process if they really want to be relevant to that Gen Z. Very nice conversation. Thank you so much, Alok, for taking time out. Lara, Parina, thank you for taking the time out from your busy schedule on a Friday morning, and thank you, Shweta, for organizing it. I'm sure our retail committee members would have found it interesting. Like we found it always very interesting, both the pitch report and the conversation which we had. Thank you so much, Lara.
Thank you very much for thinking for us. Pleasure to meet you again, Lara. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Wishing you a great day ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.